Chapter 250, Zhu Tui's Nemesis. The supernatural branch's counterattack is here. Look, I'm afraid there will be blood this time. Quick, come and take a look. Zhu Tui has humiliated the freshmen of the supernatural branch and attracted the retaliation of the entire branch. On the internet, similar messages flooded the screen. The students who did not care much about it previously rushed to the Longhu Arena when they had the time. Those who did not have the time to go there would watch the live broadcast directly. Occasionally, they would send one or two comments. At the same time, Huang sent all the information it could gather about Qi Sheng to Zhu Tui's personal communication device. Qi Sheng was a water-type superb individual. His mind power had reached the level of high-level instantiation. His genetic abilities could be used for both defense and attack. They were also good at long-term battles. Huang had also sent Zhu Tui a combat video of Qi Sheng. However, Qi Sheng's latest combat video was the one that ranked 87th on the Longhu overall rankings a month and a half ago. In other words, the 87th place on the Longhu overall rankings was a manifestation of Qi Sheng's combat strength a month and a half ago. There was a popular saying in the Wuxia genetic evolution Kalagith ranking on the Longhu list only represented one's past combat power. Qi Sheng stepped onto the main stage of the Longhu Arena the moment Zhu Tui accepted the challenge. Qi Sheng did not wear the standard combat uniform provided by the school. He took off his jacket and wore a light blue custom-made combat uniform. After he went on stage, Qi Sheng did not say a word. He just unscrewed the 3 bottles of mineral water he was carrying and poured them out. The mineral water that was poured out did not land on the ground. Instead, it was gently guided by Qi Sheng's superpower and immediately landed evenly on Qi Sheng's specially made combat uniform. All the water was absorbed by Qi Sheng's specially made combat uniform. Not a single drop of water was spilled. With a flip of his hand, Qi Sheng took out 2 specially made high-pressure water guns. Qi Sheng did not say anything else. He said to Ku Qingshan, "Professor Ku, I'm ready." Zhu Tui's pupils constricted slightly. From the moment Qi Sheng went on stage until now, there was no hesitation in his movements. He was definitely an expert who had experienced countless battles. Moreover, he was extremely well prepared. For supernatural-type cultivators, as long as they could use a little real substance as a guide, their defense and combat strength would increase exponentially. It was just like the fire explosion of Nakamura Yuji previously. Qi Sheng's water had the same effect. Compared to the water-type superhuman, Saluka, whom Zhu Tui had fought before, Saluka's behavior of carrying a mineral water bottle onto the stage was a little low-class. Zhu Tui, you have at most 5 minutes to prepare. Please prepare for battle within 5 minutes, Ku Qingshan said. As Qi Sheng was only using a high-pressure water gun, an auxiliary weapon that was not a hot weapon, he did not need to adjust his combat distance. Zhu Tui nodded and quickly browsed through Qi Sheng's battle videos. After so many battles, he realized that analyzing his opponent through the videos he had collected was useful. However, he could not rely on them too much. That was because these videos were not the latest ones. If he relied too much on his opponent, he would lose his accurate judgment of his opponent and affect his actual combat. It could only be used as a reference. It was also at this moment that Zhu Tui noticed that Kui Shi, Chai Zhao, Kai Hongying, Zhong Ziking, Gong Ling, and Zuo Qingqing were all trying to squeeze their way to the front of the main ring to cheer Zhu Tui on. At the same time, Huang's voice suddenly sounded in the laboratory wherein Zhao Saxui was alone. Qi Sheng from the supernatural branch wants to challenge Zhu Tui. Do you want me to help you transfer the call? Qi Sheng, a third-year student, is here to challenge Zhu Tui. Wen Xiao and his teacher are really thick-skinned. And Zhao Saxui sneered. Huang, help me transfer the signal. I want an omnidirectional super angle signal. Alright, Zhao Saxui, it'll satisfy you. In the next moment, 8 projection screens appeared in the laboratory. The surveillance cameras in all directions of the arena were instantly transmitted to Zhao Saxui. In an instant, the entire Longhu list's main stage appeared in front of Zhao Saxui. Professor Ku, I'm ready. Zhu Tui spoke 3 minutes later. Alright, Zhu Tui, challenger Qi Sheng, please get ready. The battle will begin the moment the countdown on the projection screen disappears. As soon as he finished speaking, a projection screen appeared. Ku Qingshan's mind power began to patrol the venue. This level of challenge had already given Ku Qingshan, the teacher on duty, a certain amount of pressure. If anything happened, he might not be able to make it in time. In the arena, Wen Xiao stood up from the platform again and looked at the main arena with full concentration. This time, Zhu Tui did not continue to beat Wen Xiao with his words before the battle. He started preparing for battle. The moment the countdown began, the 3 alloy silver pills rose into the air, and the flying sword began to circle above his head and slowly accelerate. It could guarantee that they would be able to reach strategic speed as soon as the battle began. In the next moment, the countdown ended and the light screen dissipated. Almost at the same time that the light screen dissipated, a wave of mind power suddenly erupted from Zhu Tui's body. Mental Whip. It was a strengthened version of the Mental Whip. Zhu Tui used his time distortion as soon as the battle started. This ability could be used to defend or attack. The main purpose of attacking was to gain 0.2 milliseconds of absolute advantage. For an ordinary cultivator with a reaction speed of about 10 milliseconds, this 0.2 milliseconds of absolute advantage was meaningless. However, it was meaningful to Zhu Tui. He had 0.2 milliseconds of absolute advantage. This was especially true when he used this to launch a mental attack. It could be said to be instantaneous. It was also because of this that the spectators saw Zhu Tui's mental attack land on Qi Sheng's head as soon as the battle began. It felt as if Zhu Tui's mental attack had been waiting on Qi Sheng's forehead for a long time. The moment the battle began, it fell. They felt that Zhu Tui had acted first, but it did not seem like it. It was extremely strange. However, Qi Sheng's mind power cultivation level had long reached high-level instantiation. Therefore, even Zhu Tui's strengthened version of the mental whip only made Qi Sheng tremble slightly. His mind power fluctuated for a moment after being whipped. Other than that, there were no other effects. The moment Zhu Tui's flying sword and the silver pill flew toward Qi Sheng's body was like a blooming lotus flower. Layers of lotus water shields appeared around him. Zhu Tui's 2 alloy silver pills entered the water at high speed. But they only pierced through 3 layers of the lotus water shield before they became powerless. What was worse was that Zhu Tui's 2 alloy silver pills were stuck inside the 3 layers of the lotus water shield. Zhu Tui's flying sword also had the same feeling. However, the flying sword was extremely sharp. The destructive power was not something that the silver pill could compare to. In an instant, it pierced through 3 layers of the lotus water shield, turned back and soared into the sky. Qi Sheng's lotus water shield had 5 layers. Zhu Tui felt that his flying sword should be able to pierce through the 5 layers of the lotus water shield. However, after it pierced through the shield, the flying sword would lose its power and would not be able to cause any effective damage. Once Qi Sheng had any more tricks up his sleeve, the flying sword might be trapped inside. If the flying sword was trapped, Zhu Tui would definitely be more dangerous in today's battle. Therefore, Zhu Tui decisively sent his flying sword into the sky after the alloy silver pill fell. Qi Sheng sneered when he saw this. The students below the stage were also shocked. Qi Sheng's methods completely countered Zhu Tui. Fortunately, the flying sword had managed to escape just now. Otherwise, Zhu Tui would have admitted defeat if the flying sword had fallen. Almost at the same time, Qi Sheng raised his gun and fired. The 2 high-pressure water guns fired continuously. Dozens of water arrows shot towards Zhu Tui at the same time. The moment the dozens of water arrows were shot out, they instantly changed. The originally tiny water droplets suddenly turned into rapid and fierce water arrows. All the students thought that the water arrows were used to shoot Zhu Tui. However, the moment the dozens of water arrows approached Zhu Tui, Qi Sheng suddenly waved his right hand. Bind! In an instant, dozens of water arrows intertwined with each other and suddenly formed a huge water net that enveloped Zhu Tui from a low altitude. Another aeotic. If Zhu Tui was caught in the water net, he might not even have the time to admit defeat. Ku Qingshan's mind power had already leaned over. At this moment, it was already too late for the flying sword to come to his aid. However, Zhu Tui was not afraid at all. A mental whip instantly materialized and whipped toward the space between the water net and Qi Sheng. Amidst the invisible sound of mind power colliding, the mental connection between Qi Sheng and the water net was instantly shattered by Zhu Tui's mental whip. Qi Sheng's expression changed. The water net that he had thrown at Zhu Tu instantly disintegrated, turning into hundreds of water droplets that fell from the sky. Qi Sheng was also an extremely talented person. In an instant, he bit the tip of his tongue and spat out a drop of blood essence. The high-pressure water gun in his right hand instantly switched to its strongest position and shot out. Under Qi Sheng's exquisite control, the water arrow cleverly wrapped around the blood essence on the tip of his tongue. In an instant, the blood essence reached Zhu Tu. As Qi Sheng waved his hand, the drop of blood essence exploded. The hundreds of water droplets gathered and instantly condensed into a human-shaped water puppet. The mental shield temporarily blocked the human-shaped water puppet. Zhu Tui's mental chain instantly shot out. The silver flying sword turned into a silver light and flew at high speed 100 meters away. As the audience cried out in surprise 100 meters away, the silver flying sword circled around and suddenly turned around. An ear-piercing sonic boom exploded from afar. The speed of the silver flying sword was instantly pushed to its limits by Zhu Tu. It turned into a dazzling silver light. Qi Sheng's expression changed drastically. His water puppet was extremely powerful. One punch was enough to break Zhu Tui's mental shield. However, the water puppet's movements were relatively slow. It took time to break through layer after layer of mental shields. Qi Sheng felt that he could not withstand Zhu Tui's sword. Explode! Qi Sheng shouted angrily. The water puppet instantly collapsed inward and then exploded. The moment he said the word explode, Qi Sheng shouted at Ku Qingshan, "Save me!" FCAC, Qingshan, who was on duty, cursed. The mind power that had split into two to patrol the area instantly fused into one and gathered behind Qi Sheng's head. The moment Ku Qingshan focused his mind power, the 6 layers of Lotus Water Shield behind Qi Sheng bloomed. However, time was too tight. Not to mention that Ku Qingshan had gathered his mind power in a hurry, he had barely condensed it into a flat shield. The silver light that blasted over instantly pierced through Ku Qingshan's mental force field that had yet to be strengthened. Kai Chi-Chi, Qisheng's 6-layered Lotus Water Shield was pierced through like paper. Blood exploded. Thief male students who were watching the battle screamed in shock. From the looks of it, his head was about to explode. The blood light exploded, and the silver light formed by the silver flying sword still left everyone in the dust, shining brightly. At some point in time, Qi Sheng had been lifted 30 centimeters into the air. There was already a bloody hole the size of an egg in the middle of his neck. Blood spurted out.